Hey, welcome back to our channel. It's your girl Vivian, and today I will be showing you how to make a full wig with no closure. I will be using 3 bundles of Yvonne Brazilian kinky curly hair. There's also a video on that, so you can click the link in the description down below. I apologize, the video does go a little bit fast, so feel free to skip, pause, and do whatever you have to do to follow along. For this wig, I used a spandex dome cap, needle and thread, and of course a mannequin head. Don't mind mine, she's been through a lot. I will be using pins to keep my dome cap in place. Okay, so just like any other sew-in, I'm gonna take my needle and thread and pass it through the weft, and then as I continue through the weft, I'm going to pass it underneath the weft until I get to the end of the track, and I'm going to sew it through the weft and tie it triple knotted, just so that the weft can stay in place. For my wigs personally, I like to pass the needle underneath the weft as I'm sewing. This is just quicker for me. And then when I get to the end of the weft, of course, I pass it through so that the weft can be secure and no problems, no snatching of the tracks, none of that. You also want to make sure that your tracks lay as flat as possible. You do not want bumps in your wig. You do not want tracks sticking out. So make sure you lay your tracks flat as possible as you're sewing. As you can see here, I am passing the needle underneath the weft. That's just my preference. For you or whoever is making your wig, you can pass the needle through the weft for extra security. Okay, so as I reach the end of the dome cap, I like to flip the weft over. I do not cut tracks. This ensures less shedding. So flip the weft over and sew it down as flat as possible. Since I am using kinky curly hair, I'm spreading my tracks out very far apart in the back because the hair will get bigger and it will cover the sections that I have spread out. In the front, you will see that I do not spread them out as much. The wig will be very full throughout, but I did not want the back to be too full, so therefore I put most of the hair towards the front. So once again, I'm reaching the perimeter of my dome cap. I do not cut my weft, I flip it over and I sew it down as flat as possible. Make sure to tie at least 3 knots so that the end of your dome cap can be extra secure. You don't want anything pulling out, getting loose throughout your wig, so make sure to tie those 3 knots. So here, as you can see, I'm approaching the end of the first bundle. As you can see, I have it pinned in place. I'm going to make sure to sew through the weft and triple knot the thread so that it stays in place. So I'm done with my first bundle and I have 2 more to go. So now on the second bundle, you're going to repeat the same exact steps that you did on the first, except you're going to start to use this track to wrap around your perimeter of your wig. This second bundle will contribute heavily to the front of your wig as well as to your bangs if you choose to cut those afterwards. You want to make sure that this second bundle is sewn flat in the front of your wig to ensure that the front of your wig remains flat. Also, as you can see, I am sewing through the weft. Because this is the perimeter of my wig, I want to make sure that this track does not pull with time. I forgot to mention prior, but I did add some stuffing underneath my cap just to make sure that my wig is big head friendly at the end, because your girl got a big head. So at this point in the second bundle, you're going to want to continue to wrap the track around the circumference of your head and sew it down in this form. And towards the end of this track, I go back to the flip over method just so I can start my third bundle properly. So here I've started my third bundle. I'm going to continue to sew the track down in a circle. Since there is no closure, you want this circle to be tight so that the tracks do not show at the end. At this point, I'm going through the weft just to ensure that the track is secure and there's no problems. Like I stated previously, at the top of the wig, my tracks are not spread out as far. You don't want the tracks spread out too far because the tracks will show. Here I begin the flip over method once again. I want the front of my hair to be a little bit more full because this is where I will be cutting my bangs. Hence why I double my track. So at this point, we're going to continue to sew the track down in a circle just so that we can make this gap a little bit smaller. I did not show this before, but I did cut about half of the track. I will be using this piece to close this gap, and I will be using the other piece to fill in the circle. So we're going to sew this track down in a circle just like we've been doing before, making sure to go through the wefts. At this point, we're just trying to make the gap as small as possible so that it's easier to fill. You want to make sure to keep this last track flat as well because you do not want a bumpy install when we get down to our last track. I'm placing this plastic bag over my mannequin head to serve as a barrier between the head and the hot glue gun. I'm going to be taking the other half of the track I mentioned before, and I'm going to ravel it up kind of like a fruit roll-up, and we're going to be using it to fill in this gap. I'm going to be taking the hot glue gun and adding a lot of hot glue to this bundle. You want to make sure you add a lot of glue so that it's able to stick. Now I'm going to be using it to fill in this gap and apply pressure so that it stays down. Now I will be turning my wig inside out so I can sew down the part that I just glued, just so that it's extra secure. There you have it, a full wig with no closure. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!